Three. Hi. Well,
The mask matches your
we have,
sweats.
thank you.
We should all be, yeah, they're not also matching.
We have new provincial modeling numbers today,
Yeah.
and those are very troubling. And I have to say, I believe the science, and I believe that we are at risk of staring down a fifth wave here in Ontario. And, what's disappointing and frankly confusing for people is that there lacks clarity from the provincial government in terms of what to expect. We have a holiday coming up. People don't know what the gathering rule limits will be, if there are any, because there aren't any right now at this point, and how this is going to affect because of the Omicron variant of concern. So, this is very troubling, and the delay and the confusion from Doug Ford and his government is once again, it's disappointing. 20 months into a pandemic, and we still do not have a government that's willing to get out front and be proactive in its measures.
The health minister says we need to wait, we need more information. Do you think it's prudent to wait, or should we just put more measures in place already?
Ontario Liberals do not believe that we should be waiting because the virus is not waiting. The virus is busy infecting and being circulated. The first school in Scarborough, there's someone now diagnosed with the Omicron variant. We know that there are certain communities that are COVID hotspots. We know that doing things in a proactive way helps to slow down the spread of COVID-19, such as making sure that students between the ages of 5 and 11 are getting their vaccines as quickly as possible. Why is the provincial government not making this available in school settings and during the school day? This would accelerate the distribution of the vaccine to those in that age group. We certainly know that the province has a stockpile of rapid tests provided by the federal government. Why are they hoarding those tests rather than making them available much more broadly to people? There are some people who will be hesitant about, purchasing a test, or they are unable to do that. And yet, we know that the federal government has supplied these rapid tests in Ontario, and yet Doug Ford and his government they're hoarding them for some reason during this time.
Should the test be available to anyone for free? Leading up to the holiday gatherings, maybe I would want to test just to make sure I'm not bringing COVID to my party. Do you think the government should give the rapid test for free to anyone who wants it?
Distributing the rapid tests for free to people would add a measure of peace of mind to individuals, so that they know that they are not carrying and potentially transmitting this virus, especially in the face of Omicron, which we know is more transmissible. We know it is here in Ontario. We know that it's being spread in traditional COVID hotspot communities. And so making the rapid tests available to people on a more broad basis would certainly, ease that concern and slow that spread of COVID-19, which is the intent. We know that vaccines and getting them out into people is the most effective shield that we have against this virus, and making sure that we accelerate the availability of booster shots to people is important, and I certainly support that. At the same time, making sure that those 5 to 11 just getting their first COVID-19 vaccination shot, that they get to do that as quickly as possible as well. Even masks as well. What is the government saying about masking for those who have had their vaccines, those who have not? What are the gathering rules? We know that we're coming up to the holidays. There's just really this delay, and this wait and see approach is putting Ontarians at risk of a fifth wave of COVID-19. I believe the modeling. When they project 3,000 cases by mid-January, we need to take that seriously, but we also know that public health measures take a couple of weeks before we see the effects of those. So a proactive leadership from Doug Ford and his government is needed now.
More restrictions, Mitzi? Should they be going back to capacity limits at restaurants? or anything like that, or at Maple Leaf Gardens, or sorry, Air Canada Centre, places like that? Should they be doing those things?
Scotiabank Arena.
Scotiabank Arena, whatever they call it.
Get the sponsor right.
You know, I believe that people are exhausted. You know, it's been 20 months, and we see that the virus continues to affect us. It's now changing given the fact that we have the Omicron variant. At the same time, we know that having stricter public health measures and guidelines is what slows down the spread of the virus. We cannot afford for our hospitals to become overwhelmed, or that people are at risk of losing their life from this virus. So we have to do whatever it is necessary to protect people at this time, including having stricter measures as appropriate, and communicating that clearly in advance so that those businesses and services that will be impacted can prepare, and because they also need to plan ahead as well. We want to see our small businesses on Main Street survive this winter, but the lack of planning and the lack of confusion is making it worse, and the delay of waiting to see how bad the virus will get is putting people at risk. And we urge Doug Ford and his government to take action now before it's too late.
I think we have a question on the phone line, so we can switch to the phone line.